64th District State Representative, Julie Alexander. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Bert.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be
Wel-
seen.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're getting ready for the summer events season. All the parades and all that stuff
Yeah.
will be back.
Yeah.
Now, since you are running, because you're term limited, are you still going to do the?
Well, I'm still here serving the people, right? So someone just asked me this morning, or asked me last week to meet them for coffee, and I did that. I still continue to serve the district of the 64th, and I will do that until the end of December, right? So does serving mean walking in parade? Sometimes it does, right? I need to be accessible. I need for individuals to know how to get a hold of me. My office phone number is 517-373-1795, and we still help a lot of people with a lot of different issues.
Yeah, and in fact, one of the things you've done throughout your terms, honored Jackson County residents, and just this past month, a couple of our longest living residents,
Yeah.
including Lee Hosler, Herb Elfring,
Yes.
and Sam Jacobs.
Yeah, and Mr. Jacobs, Sam, wasn't able to make it that day. So a couple days later, I showed up at the care home he lives in right now, as he's healing. But these two fine individuals, how unique that we found three 100-year-old World War II veterans, and their birthdays are 4 days from each
No
other.
kidding.
Right, 4 days apart. And two of them, the two gentlemen that you saw in that first photo, both are retirees from Consumers. So excited to share their story, recognize them with happy birthday wishes on the House of Representatives floor.
Do you have like a giant message sign in front of the Capitol that you can throw birthday wishes up?
No, we don't have that. We did give a flag that flew over the Capitol, but yeah, it was a great time. Serving is an incredible honor, and I have so many opportunities to share what I do with others, and that's the best part.
Yeah, it's exciting too that they were able to celebrate their 100th birthday despite turning 100 during the pandemic, and I think they got maybe a little extra attention because of that, because people having to do some unusual things like drive-by parades for birthdays.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's an honor to be able to recognize those. And I encourage anyone that has a special event coming up, it could be a retirement, an anniversary, birthday, if a tribute from the state of Michigan is appropriate, please feel free to reach out to my office, and we're happy to do that.
And I think Herb actually was at Pearl Harbor on December 7th.
Yes.
And obviously
So
survived.
that makes him even more unique, being one of the very few Pearl Harbor veterans available for us to, again, be in the physical and the mental state to come up and tell his stories is truly valuable.
Yes, and Herb I know watches from Vista Grand Villa. We appreciate that. Hi, Herb. Congratulations. Oh, some more congratulations are in order. You won an Emmy.
I don't know about an Emmy, but yeah, we did win an award.
An award, not an Emmy. But like an Emmy, it's a communicator award from the Academy of Interactive and Visual Arts. A GIMJA, I think is what
Yeah.
they're called.
So we created a video series called Grown in Michigan with Julie Alexander, and Grown in Michigan, Julie Alexander, we created the acronym GIMJA there. But this is Bill Mitch, and what do you know about Bill Mitch, Bart?
Well, Bill used to work here for several years, and Bill and I, we went to San Diego together to do a week at Marine Corps boot camp. So that was an adventure. But Bill worked here for several years, and then you guys stole him away from us in Lansing.
Well, we provided an opportunity, and he is now an employee of the Michigan House of Representatives and the Republican caucus, and he is just a tremendous asset. Now, he still lives here in our Jackson community, he and his wife, Abby, and Bill has been with me since day one. When I was given the appointment of chair of the House Agriculture Committee, which I have had now for 3.5 years, I knew I needed to do more than just, deal with policy that might be coming in front of the committee, I wanted to educate, and I wanted to educate others in our caucus and around the state about the importance of the agricultural industry in our state. You know, for quite some time, everyone said we rank number 2 as the most diversified state. We rank number 2 behind California and the uniqueness of the commodities we raise and grow. But I think we should rephrase that messaging and say we are first with their own freshwater supply. So Michigan's agricultural economy is significant to our state and feeding not only our community, the state, the nation, and the world. We raise over 300 commodities, raise and grow. And so we've just been taking some of those different commodities and telling a story.
Well, as a farmer yourself, I'm sure you got extra points and credibility as host of this series because you know what you're talking about.
Well, it's just like you know what you're talking about, Bart, right? When you come to a show, you have a little bit of a background. You're going to have to be prepared for someone to sit and not answer, right? And pull the questions out of them and hand them sometimes very easy questions to take them in the direction you see value in what the people, your viewers, want to hear, see, or know. It's similar for me, having the conversation with people that are growing and producing the products.
We actually have a clip from this award-winning series that we're going to take a look at right now.
Hi, I'm Julie Alexander. Welcome to Grown in Michigan. Today's topic, potatoes. We are here at the Walther Farm, mid-Michigan, and learning more about how Michigan plays such a vital impact in our nation's economy in providing potato chips.
Of that front porch, swinging kind of life.
First, we start at Techmark, an agricultural technology firm headquartered in Lansing, Michigan. Here, scientists and engineers work together to develop storage and production systems that lay the groundwork for Michigan's potato chip industry. In Michigan, we don't typically grow the kind of potato that you'd find at a dinner table. Instead, we are the nation's capital for chippers, potatoes that are specifically cultivated to make the perfect potato chip. It takes millions upon millions of pounds of potatoes to keep the chip industry in business. Storing all of those potatoes is a major challenge. That's where Techmark comes in. Their systems help to keep vast warehouses of harvested potatoes at just the right humidity and temperature so that they can be stored for months at a time.
We're challenged every year. Our supply we like to take into at least the first week of June. And we do that with AC, air conditioning, and heat, and then controlling the temperatures and humidities, and just ecstatic. They look like this.
So when were these harvested?
These were harvested the last week of September.
Last week of September, and it's
Yep.
May 3rd.
Yep. And based on look and smell, they could last till July, no problem.
The ideal chipper is round and smooth, like a baseball. Unlike table potatoes, like Idaho's, chippers are high in starch and low in sugar, so they stand up to the frying process without turning black and dark. One of the biggest chip producers in Michigan is Better Made, located in Detroit. Each year, 60 million pounds of potato chips are turned into Better Made chips by following a recipe that has been unchanged for more than 88 years. 75% of the company's workforce are Detroit residents who live within 5 miles of their French Road facility, which means the economic impact of our potato industry reaches beyond the fields and into our cities. From farm to table and everywhere in between, Michigan's potato industry contributes about $1.24 billion to Michigan's economy, including more than 3,000 jobs in potato production and processing. So now you know. That's how potatoes are grown in Michigan. I'm State Representative Julie Alexander. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time.
When neighbors still smile and wave, the Sunday morning's amazing grace and the stars and stripes fly for the free.
Wow, awesome segment.
Thank you. I mean, they've been a lot of fun producing them for over the last 3 years, and we look forward to the next 6 months that I'm in office, expanding and adding a few more to our list. And again, anyone that would want to see I do have a YouTube page that has a link to them, but they're also on my state Facebook page, State Representative Julie Alexander on my Facebook page. They're there as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I learned some things. I had no idea that we grew so many of the potatoes for potato chips.
For potato chips, exactly. It's the potato chip industry. We just finished up a series on the horse industry. We've got one coming out very soon on food banks. How do people get their food? And then your typical dairy, corn, soybeans. Wheat was an interesting one, flour, and I travel the state and I learn more about the uniqueness of that commodity. Greenhouses, who knew Easter lilies and poinsettias, how Michigan is the #1 grower in our greenhouses for those products as well. So it's been very interesting, and I love to educate and entertain.
Have you learned some things like about the potato? What didn't you know about potato chips before that segment?
I think my biggest takeaway was the technology in raising the potatoes, the technology that's involved, also in storing the potatoes, perfect temperature, and I'm not an HVAC person, so understanding what it takes to store the potatoes so that not to do any damage to it, so that when it comes time to make the potato chips, we're ready to go. It's just every time it's unique, and I'm just grateful for Bill Mitch and my entire team that's been with me since day one on this to add the consistency. I think that allowed us to tell that unique agricultural story, and again, honored to have received the award for the work we're doing.
Nice, and I hope Bill Mitch is watching today, and Bill and Abby are expecting their first baby, and they just got married in September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. That's a honeymoon baby.
I think so.
Wow, congratulations. All right, so we're getting close to the end of the session, which is the crunch time for the budget. You guys, the budget goes into effect October 1, but you need to get it done. Hopefully, I think your goal is July 1, right?
Yeah, I think because it's being an election year and everything, I think the goal is to get it done and then let people go back in district and do what they need to do there. So I know we'll continue to make progress as we negotiate with the Senate and then with the governor as well.
And it seems to be that the Senate and the House, they both have their versions that are ready to go, and but we don't know. The governor, this being an election year, there's some tax cuts and some incentives. We've got potentially, according to revenue estimates, $5 to $8 billion more coming into the state of Michigan than anyone anticipated. So really, I guess in theory, what's the goal with knowing that extra money is there? Do we give it back in the form of rebates or tax cuts? Do we bank it? Or do we invest into some of the things that we've been talking about all these years, like the roads and the bridges?
I think it's got to be a combination of everything. So first of all, we know with some of the federal dollars that came in, one-time spending, paying down debt, looking at unfunded liabilities such as retirement and things of that, making those investments in roads and infrastructure, we hear on a regular basis. That's what's important to those we serve. And as we look at that, then we have to look at general funds. If our revenue to our state is significantly higher than we expected, which we're estimating in the billions, then to me, the right thing to do is get it back in the taxpayers' hands. These are not our dollars. They're not Lansing's dollars. They're not the capital's dollars. They are the people's dollars. And if we can provide some relief to the families, that is what we need to be doing. So last Thursday, the House and the Senate voted on a family tax relief plan, and it had 4 areas that will be addressed. The first one is for Michigan workers. The House and the Senate voted on just this last Thursday to lower the individual income tax from 4.25% to 4%. Also, at the same time, increase the exemption by an additional $1,800 per person. So that would make a significant impact. We also, on the second bullet point, offer relief for families. Families would be eligible for a $500 non-refundable tax credit for each dependent 18 years and younger. Thirdly, additional tax exemption for seniors. Those residents that are 67 and older who currently can take $20,000 of income individually or $40,000 jointly, they would receive an increase of another $1,800 on top of that. So in other words, for seniors, we would give them more of their own money back that would not be taxed. And finally, the expansion for veterans. Right now, disabled veterans receive a property tax relief. That was passed by the Michigan legislature about, I would guess about 8 years ago. And I value and I appreciate that, and this would be expanding it to the spouses of the veterans. But it also takes that financial responsibility away from the townships. So when that legislation was passed, disabled veterans, you don't have to pay your property taxes. It was the state making that declaration through that statute, but it was on the backs of the townships. We need to make the townships whole. If we as state legislators say that's important, then we need to find it in our budget rather than the townships. So I was excited for that piece as well.
Another unfunded mandate.
In my opinion, yes.
Governor hinted that she'd like to send everyone in the state a $500 check. What's the likelihood of that? Because it would have to be approved by the legislature.
Sometimes the governor has a tendency just to make bold statements, and she can make them, but the legislative process, the appropriation process, begins, as I said, through the committees and the legislatures. So we look forward to, the governor sitting down at the table and having those conversations.
All right. So don't watch your mailbox just yet. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Bart.
Our 64th District State Representative, Julie Alexander.